You're listening to iCannabisRadio.com.
All right, welcome to the Hemp Connoisseur Radio. I'm David, as always. Jason's here with me. Say hello, Jason.
Hey, what's going on, team?
All right, we have two great guests with us tonight. We have AJ the Hashman. AJ is an expert on cold water hash. He's also the owner of At Home Baked and Sticks. Huge fan of At Home Baked, by the way. If you guys don't know that product yet, it's a take home and bake your own brownies or blondies with a medication already in it. So you can. He's kind of, made it for idiot-proofed it, because I'm one of those people that only can make pre-mixed baked goods. So
like ramen noodles.
Oh, those are the
it's
best.
like ramen noodles, only tasty and well medicated.
And medicated.
Yeah. And actually, it's actually
medicated
one of the
ramen.
best.
Yeah,
Honestly,
there you go.
it's actually a really
thought
good value for the amount of medication you're getting.
Amazing value.
Like,
basically, you're getting a product for between $45 and $60 a box.
Yeah.
And it's about $150+ worth of meds.
yeah. That's a pretty good deal. Mm-hmm. Also, AJ, and one of the reasons why we want to bring you in is AJ is the host of the MMJ Meet and Greet, which is now a year old.
Now actually 3 years old.
3 years?
Wow.
Is it really 3 years
It's
old?
our 26th event that I've hosted.
Wow.
We've been all over Denver with the venues that we've hosted it at. Everything from about 100-person bar to the newest venue, which seats about 1,100 people.
Wow. And where's the newest venue again?
It's the Aslan Theater, or Santa Fe Theater, right off of 10th and Santa Fe.
Perfect.
So, it's a 974 Santa Fe. And it's really an outstanding event. I mean, if you have your red card and you enjoy trying meds from different places, it's something to really check out, because we're the only event out there that's approved by the Denver Police and also by the MMED. So that's why we don't have any alcohol at these events.
Right.
And why it's really all about the flower, too. Because, there's a lot of other things that have went on recently, the Extract Artist Cup, all different kinds of stuff like that. And, it's a little more about concentrates and things like that, where this meet and greet has always been about the flowers.
Right.
And that's what I love. I love to help people showcase their flowers to hundreds of patients. And, basically, it's such a fluid industry that we're in.
Absolutely.
This month, one shop's Master Kush could be amazing. The next month, another shop's Master Kush, and so on and so forth. And that's what these events are really built for and made to facilitate, because you can't drive around to 20 different dispensaries and buy a gram at every single one. But if you come to this event and do your $10, then you'll get to try a little bit from every
Right.
single
And it's
one.
like the dispensaries are coming to you that way, So
Exactly.
It's nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's putting everyone together in one spot.
Right.
Dispensaries, edible companies, everything.
So it's just a fee at the door then? In order
Correct.
to get
Yes.
in?
Okay. It's a fee for the venue. It's a $10 entry fee, and you have to have your red card, and that's part of your private membership. So, as being a member of our red card community, you're also able to be a member of this meet and greet.
Now with the new law in Amendment 64 now only having to be 21, why is it that you have to have your red card?
Because there technically are no regulations set up for over 21 cannabis events. I work very closely with the Denver Police Department to keep everything legal with what we do. And they have cautioned me that essentially until they come up with something, they would prefer that we don't do cannabis events until they have some type of regulation that we can follow and that they can enforce. And I completely understood that.
Well, yeah, you want, obviously in this industry, especially when you're doing public events, well, it's private, but it's, out
private events that we're going to consume cannabis at. I mean, that you're going to be, enjoying a substance recreationally that's going to alter your mood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So what sets you aside, because there are a couple other clubs out there that have just popped up here in the last couple weeks. What kind of sets you aside from these other clubs, and why should people come visit you?
Working with the DPD.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth. I mean, with our events, you're not going to have them rolling and busted up.
Well, aside from that, I mean, maybe more about the atmosphere you
definitely.
have, and or if you have sponsorship, or what kind of environment can somebody expect to walk into when they come to one of your events?
Well, it's a really amazing thing, to tell you the truth, and that's what I love about our events, is that it's a super social atmosphere. We get literally the entire cannabis community involved. We don't charge for booth space. We work with everyone cross-promoting between our event, our companies, and their information and their stuff, just like THC Mag, just like Culture.
Great magazine.
Just like so many of the ones out there. And we're not specific. We're working with THC, we're working with Culture, we're working with Chronic. We work with everyone in the industry, and it's the same thing with the dispensaries.
Sure.
I don't only allow certain dispensaries to come in. We open it up to everybody.
Right.
So, pardon me, we give everyone an equal chance, and you know what? This month, your meds might not be the greatest.
Right.
And your neighbors might be amazing.
Right.
And so this month, you know what? Your neighbor's going to put some stuff in. And then the next month, when yours are off the chart, that's when you call us up and say that you want to participate in the meet and greet. And everything that we do with the meet and greet is purchased and then given privately patient to patient.
Great.
And that's what keeps us 100% legal.
Perfect. Perfect.
I purchase the meds
Gotcha.
or people designated by me.
Sure.
So basically everyone gets to come and enjoy all my meds.
Great.
And since we're all patients, I can share with you.
Right. Well, it's very generous of you. Well, before we get any further with AJ, we haven't introduced our other guest today because we kind of got onto the tangent.
Sorry.
No, it's great. It's fascinating. But we have Casey Stark in the studio today. Casey is great way to put it is ganjapreneur. I love that. I guess we're all ganjapreneurs here in the room. And he is one of the founders of the founder of the MMJ Business Academy, based down in Colorado Springs.
That's correct.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing with those guys?
Well, I actually want to go to this next meet and greet. It sounds like a great place to be.
Yeah, definitely.
amazing.
I do love Denver. Just don't get up here too much. We're kind of stuck in the Silicon Valley of Colorado Springs. But the MMJ Business Academy helps everybody, kind of very similar to what he does, but instead of on a social network, on a business network. So we're working with business to business and business to consumer to make sure that people come in and understand what the challenges are, make sure they meet those challenges, whether it's events or an OPC or cultivation license, both A20 and A64 models. But since the vote, we've seen this is the green wave 2.0. There is a wave coming at us that everyone's pieces of, AJ, myself, THC Mag, but there's going to be multiple waves coming after us that are going to be big.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one thing I want to mention also is Casey is now a writer for the Hemp Connoisseur. He actually did a great article in this most recent issue about Allie Hillary down at Rocky Mountain Miracles.
She did all the work. I just put the paper to pen.
Well, yeah. I guess that's a great way to put it. Very humble guy here, but it's a great article. If you guys haven't picked up the magazine, or if you have and you haven't read this one yet, definitely read it because I think a lot of people in the industry, the bulk of the industry is up here in Denver, and I think that we here in Denver can be guilty of living in a bubble.
Guilty.
And not recognizing what's happening in other cities like Colorado Springs, which tends to, they've had more backlash for an area in the state that is legal than I think anybody else as far as what they've dealt with when it comes to the district attorney down there, Dan May.
Yeah, you could very logistically argue that. And the Alley case is remarkable because it's going to help AJ, it's going to help you guys, it's going to help every center owner that might be listening to this radio show. That case was unique because it looked like a slam dunk from the DA's opinion. But when the jury came out, it looked more like, there might have been a clerical error, maybe it was a software update issue, but the plants didn't count. We get it, but it was not criminal intent. So it went from a slam dunk case of 600 plants too many and 36 pounds too heavy to, my God, she's a legend now in the medical marijuana industry.
Yep. She is.
She's currently suing the city of Colorado Springs for $3.3 million.
Yeah.
If this case goes through, and they actually pay that, we may have broken the back of the old school way of persecuting events, persecuting radio shows, persecuting free speech, or persecuting marijuana growers and owners.
Well, and we should note, too, this is the second nail in the coffin.
Good.
Bob
Krause.
There was also the Bob Krause case that was over
yep.
$300,000 who has a lawsuit against the Springs right now, too.
And I'm aware of a couple other cases that are being brought up that I'm not sure if we can mention on the air just yet. And it was told to me in confidence, but I think there's another case for $3 million being brought up to Colorado Springs, and I'm not going to say who's bringing that suit up yet because I don't know if it's happened or not yet. But and I'm sure you're aware of what I'm probably talking about.
Well, it was just announced, I think 48 hours ago, that the district attorney now has decided to offer Michael Lee, another center owner, legendary in Colorado Springs, the oldest one potentially in the entire state.
Yes.
And they now have sent him a letter said, would you accept a misdemeanor?
He's not accepting anything.
No, he's not. I know Miley, and that's actually one of the. Yeah.
No, and I think it was we're seeing history. We're watching it being written. Your events, Allie's case, your radio show, our clients. It's just this wave is a ride to watch.
Well, and I think Colorado Springs is looking for that first win. That's because they've lost everything down there. Anything that had any that you could prove that there's no wrongdoing behind it has won.
That's correct.
And so for him to offer a misdemeanor,
the city's lost everything. Yeah, the city is batting zero right now
when it comes to it. So of course they're going to offer a misdemeanor because if he would take it, then the city wins.
Yeah,
and then they have one against. Exactly. Then it's 1 to however many suits that have.
But knowing what we know of Michael Lee, we're pretty sure he's not going to take that.
Hell no, he's not going to.
And we're he's been one of the great advocates for our industry since the very beginning. He's a great fighter. He really
that's a good character. He's a fighter.
He is. Yep. Yes.
Well, and I'd love to give a shout out to the ladies at Rocky Mountain Miracles.
Amen.
Always been really impressed with all their meds down there. Yep. They always have our at-home baked products in stock. Their patients love them. They have amazing amounts of edibles. Almost every edible in the state they have in that center. So I give them mad props down there and really appreciate what they do for us and for our industry.
I do. I recommend, and there's a lot of amazing centers down in Colorado Springs, as I'm sure Casey can attest to. But if you ever have the opportunity to stop in to Rocky Mountain Miracles and say hi to Allie and her family. They are a true family business.
Exactly.
You'll be welcomed with a hug. They're some of the most amazing people in the industry. And it was funny because when we said, look, if they get Allie up in front of a jury, there is no jury that would ever find her guilty.
Exactly.
Because she's
everyone's mom.
She is. She's everyone's mom. She's known as the ganja grandma now. And she really is. And we really just love those people down there. They're some of the most positive individuals, and they have some of the most loyal followings when it comes to patients.
On a side note, too, their production is unique as well. They produce in-house about 80 strains, which every grower listed at the station is going to say that's not easy to do. And
it's amazing.
You've been there. It's beautiful.
Their
beautiful
quality
product.
is really amazing.
Yeah,
that's why I wanted to give them the shout out because
absolutely.
I don't go out of my way to help promote specific shops.
Right, sure.
I more support the entire community. But they're one of the ones who have been fighting the good fight and really been doing it right. And when I see that, it's notable to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because being a owner of a MIPS company or being a member of a MIPS company, I go into hundreds of shops, hundreds, and I try lots and lots of different meds, not just through my company, but also through my events.
Right.
And, I have never been disappointed, and that's rare,
So are there any events like what AJ has going on down in Colorado Springs?
There are. There's quite a few events. Our culture there is just a little bit different. To sum it up, it really is, in my opinion, editorially, Denver is the Hollywood of marijuana. If you guys want to try it, you're going to try it fast and furious. You're going to drive in a Harley and a Corvette with flashing signs, and I dig it because it is Hollywood. In Colorado Springs, it's more of the Silicon Valley. We have, we're right next to James Dobson and Focus on the Family. We have the Air Force Academy. We have the Fort Carson there. So we are respectful of that influence in our community. So we tend to take a more conservative approach. The events are usually more council and logistically, politically motivated as opposed to event party-like atmospheres. There are quite a few down there, but that it's not Hollywood.
It's not quite as open. And
here's one for you guys.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me get out my membership card.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's got to be good if you have to have a membership card.
There you go. Club 710. I was just there this last Sunday.
How was it?
And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah?
First, recreational cannabis club down there.
And this is down in the Springs?
Yeah,
that's correct. The Weed Pimps and MMJ Farm.
Yep.
Okay.
My buddy's down at the Weed Pimps.
24-hour membership, huh? Wow.
I think they should have given me a lifetime one, to tell you the truth. But.
So the next time you go, you have to get another membership card. Huh?
If I could address this just from a business perspective,
please.
We've seen these studio models come up, lounges, events, etc. And what concerns me from a business perspective is actually providing a product at a good price with that offers a solution. A lot of models have been tried. We've seen the Club 64 open up in Denver with Chloe and Rob Corey, and that was brilliant from a marketing perspective. But it was like, we're open now, come pay us money, and now we're gone.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we have Club 710. Those guys are wicked cool.
And they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, they're wicked cool.
Is that a solid location, or is it a moving location
It's
like
gonna
64?
be. They sold out that event the first night.
Okay, wow.
So I mean, they reached capacity by about 9 o'clock, and had to turn people away. At
Where,
the door.
are you able to
So-
share where it was being held? Or?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me.
Well, and I talked to Rob via Facebook here just a couple days ago. Actually, it was yesterday, and they are going to be looking at getting a place to
Their
be.
own
That's
facility.
their own
that's more
facility.
productive for you and
Yes.
me
It
and
is.
society
Yeah, it
when
is.
you're charging money. That's what just concerns me. If you're going to take our money, then give us a location.
Exactly.
Let us know what to expect.
Yeah, not a moving
Well-
party. I get the idea behind doing the moving location for right
Makes it
now.
harder to
You're-
bust you.
Yeah, you're testing the
Well,
waters and everything, but
not even necessarily that. It's being able to get a facility that's going to work with you. That's going to be large enough.
Correct.
Well,
You know.
but if you have to set up a business model so that you're always moving, so that you don't get busted.
Then you shouldn't be doing it
that's a pretty
anyway.
crappy
Yeah, but-
yeah, they
business
shouldn't be doing
model.
it anyway.
I mean, if you
Come
worry
on,
about being
yeah.
busted, you shouldn't be doing it.
And
Well, that's more of a
no
rave
reason-
event then instead of a club. So.
Exactly, and that's not the reason at all why the meet and greet has moved around.
Exactly.
It's that the other reason that I spoke of specifically is that we do an event somewhere and we outgrow it.
Right. And how many
You know,
people are you getting at the
instantly.
meet and greet right now?
Well, last month we had a 350 person venue and we were literally full in about 45 minutes,
Wow.
and it was shoulder to shoulder through the
Wow.
entire night.
That's great.
So we're looking at 500 to 700 for the next one, and it's 1,100 person theater.
Right.
But I would recommend probably getting there before 9 because we could hit 1,100 people.
Right.
Then
Will you be
fire
taking?
codes.
I mean, are you going to take like advanced ticket purchases?
No,
down the line, or-
that's not what I'm all about. You know,
Right.
this event isn't all about the money. It's not all about getting people's tickets beforehand
Right.
or anything like that. It's about the patients.
Right.
And it's hosted by a patient for patients.
Excellent.
And that's what it's all about. You know, you'll notice on our Facebook things and on everything else, you're not going to see big logos.
Right.
You know, I could put my At Home Baked logo or my Sticks logo up there for the picture every single time. But that's never happened because that's not what it's all about. It's about getting together, sharing your meds with good people, and having a great environment to do it in.
Right on. Well, listen, we got to take a break real quick.
I think it's 420.
Oh,
Is it? Oh,
could be,
There
yep.
you go. It's 420.
Yeah, producer
420.
Chris saying no.
Yeah, no.
417.
We'll let him. Yeah, well, we're
Got
going to
a
take a
minute?
quick break. When we get back, I'm going to ask our two great guests. It's one of those things that always fascinates me, how you got into this industry and like what propelled you to get into it. So I'm going to ask these guys that. We'll hear their answers when we get back from the break. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dixie Elixirs, the patient's choice for alternative medical marijuana treatment, brings you Dixie Botanicals all-natural topical therapy, including massage oil, pain relief salve, and our newest product, Dixie Botanicals Pain Relief Lotion. This all-natural lotion pairs beautifully with Dixie Botanicals bath salt for a deeply relaxing experience with no psychotropic effect. Like us on Facebook, Dixie Elixirs, or join us at www.dixieelixirs.com.
The Hemp Connoisseur is Colorado's premier guide to hemp culture. Our mission is to elevate the image of the medical cannabis and hemp industries to create widespread acceptance for all of the uses of the cannabis plant. You can find the Hemp Connoisseur in over 200 7-Elevens, your local dispensary, MMJ doctor offices, and tattered covered bookstores. Also, visit us online at thcmag.com or download our brand new app for your smartphone.
The law offices of Edson, Mayton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
Interested in hemp CBD wellness products? Join the DixieX revolution. DixieX has created 3 new products using hemp-derived CBD. DixieX Scripts capsules, DixieX Dewdrops, and a 1-ounce 100 milligram formula and a 2-ounce 500 milligram formula, and DixieX Botanicals Pain Relief Salve. If you're interested in these products, look for us on Facebook, DixieX, or at www.dixiex.com.
You're listening to Hemp Connoisseur Radio on iCannabisRadio.com.
All right, we are back from our break. kind of wish we could just record the conversations in between the breaks. Sometimes those are more interesting.
Non-disclosure agreements.
But non-disclosure agreements. So, yeah, when we left the break, I mentioned that I wanted to ask you guys how you got into this industry. Let's start with you this time, Casey. So what propelled you to get into the marijuana industry?
I would say I got kicked out of Christian school in the second grade for being hard to discipline.
Okay.
And then from there, I went to public school, got in a fight the first day, fell in love the first day, and met a bunch of sixth graders in the 60s. And from that day on, I was smoking marijuana, and it never seemed to affect me in a negative way. Quit while I was in the military, and came to Colorado because it's just beautiful country, beautiful business.
Right.
But then when I read the Ogden memo, I thought, well, I've never seen a more easier business model than 2 pieces of paper and the right to smoke marijuana.
Right.
So we opened our own marijuana center and were remarkably successful. But
What
then
was that
House
called?
Bill 1280, Aromas and Herbs.
Okay.
But then the House Bill 1284 came out. And we were forced to be a grower vertically integrated.
Right.
And I'm a retail person. I'm having a hard time growing a cactus at home right
Right.
now, but it's still alive. So I had all these people coming to us saying, let me be your grower, let me be your friend, give me 50%. But I couldn't do it. I just don't know these people, and we've seen what happens when you fall in love and you have a bad marriage. It's just ugly.
And there was a lot of bad marriages when that happened.
You can
there
count
were.
more bad marriages than you can successful centers that are open. But at that point, I liquidated my assets, was already profitable at that point, and then started several other businesses, and we founded the MMJ Business Academy based on demand. There's a problem, and we have a solution. Just like AJ's done with bringing people together that may not have a place to get together in that atmosphere. What he brings together is the community. What we bring together is the business-to-business personnel that want to start a delivery service or a grow op or an A20 model or an A64. And we have over 77 investors just in the last 6 months that have contacted us from Washington, D.C. to Cali to, Durango and Lamar. So it's a beautiful time in history to be alive and in the industry surrounded by marijuana.
Yeah.
If I can comment a little bit on that.
Please.
Personally, just as a person who moved to Colorado because it's such an amazing state and such a wonderful state, and all the people here are such great people, I would really love to see that money stay in Colorado.
Amen.
I would love to sort of keep out Cali and DC a little bit, not to be greedy, but you know what? We're on the forefront. Let's represent us Colorado style.
Yeah, but
not DC style, not Cali style. Cali's been messing with this forever. We've been jealous.
Well, I represent Colorado. What we try to do is make sure that people who do come in from Washington or Cali or wherever that this is Colorado. This is how we do it. Sing a song to yourself.
But I don't see that these other companies are coming in trying to change what we have going on. I look at
hopefully
there's
not.
a lot of
Hopefully not, yeah.
right. There's a lot of people outside of the state that have a lot of money in New York or wherever that want to go ahead and invest in this. And when and at one point they weren't allowed to do that. So the product that's going to be brought together and grown here and sold here, the money is still going to stay in Colorado.
Oh, yeah, the tax
at least
money
on the
comes to
tax
Colorado,
revenue.
yeah.
So I welcome. I mean, if there's people out there that have money that they can bring to Colorado to invest in businesses in Colorado to create jobs for people in Colorado, then by all means, I welcome them.
Yeah. What I'm saying is I don't want to see 10 different California companies that have all this money come rolling in here and thinking they can steal the show.
I agree.
Well, I think
especially once recreational starts.
Sure.
If that's your concern, what's really going to decide that is what's happening right now behind the doors at the work groups. Because they're arguing about commas and paragraphs and the word or maybe we should use it and or both.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's getting very minuscule, but if you listen to those audio tapes, what's going to be decided is, will it be vertically integrated? Will they allow out-of-state residents in? Will they give priority to those that are currently in the business and allow them to simply flip? Our position is at the MMJ Business Academy is that everyone who's American has a right to be successful and follow their dreams according to our Constitution.
Yep. Sure. Obviously.
So, but I'm Colorado-centric. I care about small business.
Me too. Yeah.
We represent them, as well as big business. But behind the scenes, there's things that are being discussed that I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to. The employment law. What's quite amazing is that let's consider the word restrict or prohibit. Yesterday, I talked for several hours on basically around that principle, those two words.
Those two words, yeah.
It says restrict in the language. Does that mean I can restrict it to 0, which would be prohibit? or can you not restrict to zero? So, and that was about employment law. If I work for Jason or David or you, and you have a zero tolerance policy, but on the job you can restrict what I do. Does that apply to what I do after job? And if I come in the next day because I smoke marijuana, but I'm not high, I'm not impaired, but you have the right to restrict it. Correct. Does that mean prohibit? Because if it does not mean prohibit, then what I do in my off hours might change the zero tolerance drug policies in this country.
Big time.
So these are just little nouns and verbs we're discussing behind here that have a dramatic effect on your business and who can come in and how you're going to play. And
Well, and just to give a little clarification for our listeners right now, what you're speaking towards, and correct me if I'm wrong, is what can a private company do in Colorado if somebody is consuming marijuana on the recreational side or on the medical side? That's what they were discussing, and so that's what we're talking about when it comes to restrict and prohibit. I just want to clarify that for our readers who may not know exactly what you're talking about.
And as far as the medical side, we're established.
Right.
You know, what's happening now will not affect the medical side. The only way that it's going to affect the medical side is if they say, yes, you can sell it out of the same place, or no, you can't.
Well, there are proposals. There was a proposal made the other day on the table that they allow current centers to do a flip rather easily for a $500 fee, which I think a lot of people
Completely
are aware of.
flip or do both?
And either or. There we are talking
Okay,
about now.
That's where we're talking about.
That's great.
the
See, that's
and/or.
what I was hoping for.
So that's what we're pushing for too, is to allow every medical marijuana center that wants to flip. And if we have to draw a line on the floor that says this is suite A and this is suite B, then let's put a piece of paper on the floor that says that's where the line is. Now, will that fly? Maybe not. Why? Because there are other outside groups. You're worried about people outside Colorado. You better look at your backyard, because right down the street there's groups that may or may not represent you, but are pushing for remarkable vertical integration models that would, I think, within 12 to 18 months, force anyone that doesn't have a 40-acre farm out of the business.
Exactly, and that's
So-
the sad thing, because
But that's not even out of state, AJ. That's right down the street.
exactly.
It
But
is.
we don't want to be pushing lower quality meds.
I agree with
That's
that.
my biggest thing, is that if you have to have a 40-acre farm to stay in business, everything's going to become crap. And that's the last thing that I think we should see in this industry.
So do you think, I'm sorry, just out of curiosity, do you think that vertical integration is a better method for that then? Or do you think the three-tiered system
Can you explain vertical integration a little better for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Vertical integration is, okay, I own a dispensary, but I have to grow my own product as well.
Yes.
Kind of like the 70-30 rule we have for medical right now, where I have to grow 70% of the product that I sell on a yearly basis. And, there's nuances to that,
Yeah.
but to just generally speak about it. And then you have what would be called the three-tiered system. The three-tiered system is exactly what the alcohol distribution system is like. So Jack Daniels would be considered a manufacturer.
Gotcha.
Then you have
they're not allowed by law
To
distribute.
sell.
people.
yeah.
They
So
can't sell.
they sell it wholesale to the distributing companies,
Yeah.
where there's about 5 or 6 in each state,
Yeah.
usually. I mean, sometimes there's a little more, but they're boutiques for wines or whatnot. And then so you have someone like Southern Liquors who represents Jack Daniels Absolute and a multitude of liquors, and then they go and sell it to the bars and the liquor stores. And so now what we're looking at is you have the vertical integration, and there is vertical integration within the liquor industry. We talk about breweries. You talk about microbrews. Yeah, that's
exactly.
vertically integrated. They're brewing their own beer,
Yeah.
and then they're
Selling
selling
it.
it right out
Yeah,
their own
you can
location.
go to Breckenridge Brewery, and
Exactly.
they're making it right there, and you can go in their tasting room and buy a beer.
Exactly, exactly. So
Well,
I think there's room for both for this, what I like to call the adult use license. I don't like
I
to call
think
it the
there is
recreational,
room
but-
for both, but I would prefer to see vertical integration personally, because we have the experienced growers and we have the quality meds, and all it takes to vertically integrate then is another warehouse.
But you also got to think about about the two. A company that's vertically integrated, if they get big enough and have enough cash influx, they could put the smaller people out of business.
Well,
because
that's
they
the
can sell the
Walmart
product out.
issue.
That is the Walmart
That's right.
issue.
It's a Walmart issue.
However, if you go with the three-tiered system, well, then a three-tiered system is that, okay, now you have your growers, okay? Well, a pound of product for center A is the same amount as it is for center B. So everybody has the same opportunity to sell it or to purchase it at the same amount. From there, then the centers can decide on what they want to do and how much they want to sell it for, based on comparing prices against other. Whereas if you're vertically integrated, obviously the more product you grow at one time, the less it is to produce that product.
Let me just cut to the chase here from a business perspective. You're both right.
Well, that's true.
You can
I agree
have
with
the
you.
3-tier system, and if you want to grow it, sell it, cook it, well, great, then be vertically integrated.
Right.
However, I don't think I think that's the definition of insanity. We don't ask King Soopers to grow their tomatoes. We don't ask Burger King to manufacture their own cheese. It was vertically integrated by design for control of product.
Quantity of
right.
product, exactly.
Now, if we've established we can control it, we can establish we can be vertically integrated. But you can probably testify that there are growers that are better growers than their retailers. There's retailers like myself that, I can't grow a cactus.
Yeah.
But we make a lot of people successful based on what we do for them. And if the free market is a deciding factor, if we are going to regulate this like alcohol, which is what it says in the common understanding of the law, then what we're going to have is going to have microbreweries for marijuana. We're going to have
that's
taverns
exactly
for
right.
marijuana.
And that's where the vertical will work.
Well,
Either or. I think both would work. If I want to just manufacture it because I manufacture a great product, then great. Be a manufacturer. Don't force me to retail. Because that actually brings more creativity in the game. There's a lot of people out there. You want better product, you have contest. There's probably a few growers out there, you might even know them, that aren't, they don't have an LLC behind their name.
But they're a great grower.
Precisely.
Right.
So that's my point. Let's make an avenue for everybody.
We have to take another break, but I actually really want to continue this conversation, especially being a MIP, AJ. You have a different perspective on this, so I want to kind of touch base on that as soon as we get back from the break. So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Thanks again for joining us. We'll talk to you in a minute.
Thank you.
Let's face it, rules and regulations are complicated, especially in the field of medical marijuana. Let Medical Marijuana 101 help you get through the compliance process. We can also explain to you your employment requirements, your employees, and your business. But our work doesn't stop there. Our experience in cultivation ranges from the design of grow rooms to the diagnosis and resolution of grow problems. Visit us at www.medicalmarijuana101.com or call 303-388-7706. That's 303-388-7706. Are you a runner? Are you a runner who supports marijuana legalization? Run on Grass is a group of athletes actively seeking to change our marijuana laws. We speak the truth about cannabis, bringing the message through our feet to new ears. Check out runongrass.com to find out more about us, our events, and how to join up or how to sponsor a runner. If you're in the Denver area, please join us for runs or start a group in your area. Running not your thing? Any sport can do it. On grass. runongrass.com.
The law offices of Edson, Mayton, and Matz provide criminal defense, medical marijuana defense, and advice about setting up and running medical marijuana centers, optional premises cultivation operations, and infused product manufacturing businesses throughout Colorado. With offices in Denver and Aspen, we can offer assistance throughout the entire state of Colorado. Give us a call at 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or visit us online at warrenedson.com.
I'm Gary Johnson, and you're listening to iCannabis Radio, and I want to say, talk it up, Colorado.
All right, we are back with the Hemp Connoisseur Radio Hour. We have AJ the Hashman, expert in cold water hash, owner of At Home Bacon Sticks, and the founder of the MMJ Meet and Greet, which has become more successful every single month. And then we also have Casey Stark, founder of the MMJ Business Academy down in Colorado Springs with us. We're having a great conversation, actually, kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of the industry and what's going on with the task force right now. We've been discussing vertical versus three-tiered system, and obviously great conversation. I really want to continue this one. And one of the things I said right before we left the break, AJ, is I want to talk to you as a MIP when it comes to vertical integration, and I don't know what your situation is a MIP, but I know from our experiences with our other business that we've no longer do, but that a lot of the MIPs that we used to represent with Nexus Meds had a lot of issues with supplying trim to create the oil or the hash to do that. Now, I actually foresee this three-tiered system being a solution to that, more for the MIPS than for the actual retail locations. Do you understand what I say?
Yeah, I do. And that is a possibility. Because it is going to flood the market with trim. But in the same respect, if you have 500 pounds of trim coming from one place and it's all crap, going to that edible company, that can ruin a company.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I mean, it's a very touchy subject. And being a MIP as we are, we process for dispensaries.
Right.
So what we do on my end is we take their waste product or their defective product per se, whatever, seeded bud, trim, larf, all the different things that they can't necessarily sell on their shelves. And we take that and turn it into a supreme product. So we're taking their waste and making it into an amazing concentrate.
That's a green product.
I mean, our THC, the THC levels in our hash has tested as high as 87%. And
Which
that's
is awesome.
with
That's
cold
great.
water hash.
That's amazing for cold water.
You're not adding anything in.
Right.
All you're doing is collecting these glands from these amazing growers, who have done their job right. We're doing our job right by getting them a really high quality concentrate. And then they're doing a service to their patients by giving them something clean, something additive free.
Right.
I don't like to knock butane or alcohol extracts or even CO2 extracts. But any type of supercritical or chemical reaction extraction, you are altering your THC glands. So when you do that, it changes the product. It changes the way it affects our body. It changes the long-term effects on our body. It changes the way that patients are taking their medicine.
Sure.
Maybe, I guess a question for both of you, but have you guys seen anything with the state of Colorado looking to eliminate these centers from go ahead and doing like butane extractions by themselves? Or are they going to try to move it more towards a commercial type of?
Personally, what I would like to see is some studies, straight up. I would like to see how butane affects stomach linings in edibles. I would like to see how it affects your kidneys, how it affects your liver, and I'd also like to see how it affects your lungs when it's smoked.
Sure.
This is, I hate to butt in, but this might be important to you, AJ. Yesterday at the meeting, they had 3 key words: transparency, accountability, product safety. Those are the 3 words that are coming out of this work group that keep popping up. So I would suggest that what we're going to see, probably what we saw with the medical is, okay, you can test it if you want to for branding. But what we're probably going to see for A64 to protect tourism and also protect your company is standards for labeling, standards for testing might become mandatory, which is not precisely a bad thing, because now the consumer, you know what's in your Coca-Cola, you should know what's in your eighth or your pound bag of wheat. Yeah.
Well, and personally, I don't want to see something where it forces people out of this industry by any means, but I also don't want to see the first marijuana-related death.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And that's what really scares me about these very strong BHO concentrates, and especially the ones that are non-purged.
Well, that's probably going to come in.
Yeah.
They haven't had to face that yet because there was no labeling requirements that had that specific in there.
Yeah.
But for consumer safety, be ready for bigger, better labels and perhaps bigger, better testing on your product.
And I would prefer to see testing for chemicals instead of for THC. I don't, I enjoy knowing my THC content, but that's for me.
Right.
That's for me to be able to say, okay, I really have 50 milligrams of THC in here.
Right.
And so I can do my math appropriately and give people their full dosage for what they need.
Right. Well, they are able
Now-
to. They are testing for pesticides.
Well, pesticide, but you can't, currently now, they do not test to see what butane is left in a BHO product. They do not test to see if neem oil had been used over the course of a plant.
And that stuff's bad for you.
It's amazing, the thing, and it's not like it's something that shouldn't be used on plants, but it shouldn't be used necessarily in our industry or at certain times on the plants.
Sure.
So, there's so many variables involved and so many chemicals involved. I got approached by this other California company just a couple weeks ago, and they go, "Oh, look, we make these little things." I'm not going to say who it was, but it's these little capsules, and they refine it to get in the 90s on their THC content. And that's fine, but they're not telling anyone what's in there.
Yeah. Right.
Sounds like fracking.
They don't.
Yeah. Right.
They don't really, and to me, that's not neglect. That's almost more of a fuck you, I don't care. You know,
Right.
That does sound like fracking.
And that's what upsets me. You know, is I want consistency and quality, and you know, frankly, we've suffered because of that.
Well,
you know, we've been approached by BHO.
Right.
We've been approached by alcohol people that make, you know, the Phoenix Tears and things like that. Here, try a bunch of this in your product and see if it works. And I'm like, I really appreciate the gesture, but we're all cold water hash.
Right.
Because we know what cold water hash does to your body, that it actually cleans out your system, that it helps purify your kidney, you know, that it's not going to sit in your stomach lining,
Right.
and that it can be fully digested, you know, just like the sugar in our product or anything else in our product that is food safe, and we know it's food safe. They've been making cannabis edibles out of cold water hash for 50 plus years in, you know, Israel for medical studies and in Holland for public consumption, you know, and I was there when they tried BHO, and it lasted about 3 weeks.
Right.
You know, because a lot of people don't realize that when you take BHO and ingest it, and then you add hard alcohol to it, you're making butyl alcohol. Okay? This acts just like Epicac. This will make you vomit until it's out of your system.
Right.
I think this is a good point, and I'm just approaching this from the M&J Business Academy, so I'm almost viewing you as a client here. I think you position yourself in the market to be prepared for the changes that might come down as far as product labeling and standard testing. You may, if anyone's listening that's doing the other alternatives, they may want to start considering, my God, how would we label this? How would we find out what's in there? And it might actually change the industry. So
just test. Just test for contaminants.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
Or, I mean, some of these other companies that focus strictly on doing butane extraction is maybe they need to start asking themselves the question of what if butane is made illegal?
Yeah, are they prepared for that? Because it is illegal in California. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe
Correct.
it is illegal in California.
Especially on the edible side.
Especially on the edible side, yeah.
I mean, and that's what scares me about the three-tier aspect.
Right.
Is that, okay, if this three-tier aspect comes into play, are we going to have 100 pounds of butane floating around
Right.
that people are going to be consuming recreationally, and we're going to have, you know, butyl alcohol sickness issues. We're going to have overdosing issues. I call it overdabbed.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and I mean, I have a ridiculous tolerance, and I've
Right.
been OD'd. I've been overdabbed before many times.
Right.
Well, I think to
You
address
know?
your concerns, once again, I think vertical integration is okay as long as it's not the only option, because I think you block out a lot of those great growers or great retail people that might be here locally, that might have had a coffee shop or a real estate agency that's not doing so well. Let them come in. But I think your fears will all be addressed when it comes down to product labeling and safety standards, because I imagine that if tourism is allowed, like you said, we don't want that first death, and it will be worth to me and my partners and everyone out there to go ahead and take your stuff and get it tested the way the state is going to force you to test it, get it labeled the way they want you to test it, and if it changes the market and BHO becomes a non-viable solution, then guess what? You'll be at the front of the pack, and you'll be a leader, and that's what we want in this industry.
Well, and I'm not even the front of the pack, straight up. Right. You know, Nicotine has a much bigger market share than we ever will. You know, he makes hash for 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 different dispensaries.
Right.
We look at the laws, and the law says I can work with 5 dispensaries at a time producing concentrates for them. And so we only limit to 5 dispensaries at a time that we're making cold water hash for. You know, I don't know if these other people haven't realized this, or, you know, just don't care that, you know, they're not supposed to be working with 100 different places. And, you know, if I was in that situation, maybe I would want to work with 100 different places. But, you know, we're letter of the law. You know, we've been in this since the beginning. You know, as everyone knows, you know, I helped boost Keef Cola. When it had first started out, I was with them for about 11 months as their director of infusion. You know, I took them from just using Keef to using cold water hash to elevating that to a 97% activation rate.
I like that director of infusion title.
Thank you. It was a great business card. You know,
I actually would like to switch gears just a little bit. You mentioned, you know, talking about the tourism side, and I think this is a big conversation that a lot of people are having right now. I've heard it when we've been doing distribution in the magazine. they're like, well, they're not going to allow tourists, or they are going to allow tourists. You know, it's rumorville every time you visit all the dispensaries.
We should.
Absolutely, I think we should.
100%.
I think it would be a major mistake personally if they only allow Colorado state licensed adults to purchase cannabis next year, because we're still allowing a black market then.
Well, let me address it like this. So I say there's room for both.
Yes.
I say if you're a Colorado resident, you can purchase up to an ounce at a dispensary or at a recreational shop.
Right.
If you're a non-Colorado resident, very much like the Amsterdam model, you're limited to 2 grams or
Yes.
to 2 1/8.
Yes.
If you do not live in Holland.
I absolutely agree.
That's how their model is over there.
Right.
And I think we should be learning a lot more from their model. Even though it's only tolerated, it's not actually legal.
Yeah, right.
They have it down.
They do.
And that's also why you don't see BHO there either.
Well,
But I
and
think there-
you see cold water all over Amsterdam.
I think that's one of the issues that shows up in legislation across the country, or everybody who decided to have a medical license, instead of looking at Colorado, who was the best regulated state we are right now, then they'd go, well, we're going to do our own thing. We're going to reinvent the wheel again. And I think that's where our legislators need to look at and go, like you said, I think it's a great point, AJ, to say, look at Holland. Look at what they've done with this model.
What you see what's going on right now behind closed doors, or actually it's an open public meeting, but you have to take the time to listen to the bloody 4 hours each day.
Exactly.
What they're saying is, common sense of the law. What does it mean to regulate alcohol? We have to buy like that. They're going to argue about safety for children. They're going to argue about all sorts of different models. But when it comes down to their legal obligation, you must follow the common sense of the law. If you, and I, and Mr. Producer actually voted for this, for regulate like alcohol, then that's what we assume. We expect our legislator to regulate this like alcohol.
Yes.
Do I think it should be sold next to alcohol? I don't think so at this point.
I
because
agree with you on that.
It could create a disaster 12 months from now when everyone's driving around stoned and drunk, and now they're going to blame marijuana for people being drunk.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I think most people in the industry want to make sure that they are separate.
And that's why there's no alcohol consumption at our events either.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
but there's a big piece of it that we're missing, and that's the supply and the demand piece of this. Is that, I mean, we don't have enough product now to supply everybody that wants product. That's why there's centers that are out of product looking to purchase. And so, I mean, you go from a consumer base of 107,000, a legal consumer base of 107,000, to now over 1 million people in the state of Colorado that now can walk around legally with an ounce. I mean, you're talking about 1 million ounces. There's not that much product in this state,
Right.
and I completely support 100% letting out-of-state people come in and enjoy the benefits that Colorado residents have moved us towards. I think marijuana is a wonderful, beautiful thing, and everybody should have the right to it. But there's not enough product in this state to supply everybody that's in this state right now.
Right.
So how do we go about doing that? I mean, how do we supply everybody?
What we've seen is we want to be on, once again, legally, okay? So if they're going to regulate alcohol, then I cannot stop a tourist from having to buy a Jack Daniels.
Absolutely.
I can't stop it. As long as
Yeah.
it's labeled and packaged and shipped and marked it's correctly,
Right.
then there we are. So we're going to have a lot of, it's going to be based on maybe the wine model, or is a cigar bar? Can you consume at a liquor store? No, you can't, but you can consume at a bar. Can I buy from a manufacturer? Yes, I can, but I can't drink it on his parking lot. So the common sense of law, after all the fights are over, they have to come back to that. What does it mean when we said we want it regulated like alcohol? It means that if I'm a tourist, I should be able to find this, consume it like I would alcohol.
But they're still not. They're not exactly the same though, because you're talking about product that cannot be brought in from any other state. Neighboring states, it doesn't matter. It has to be supplied by the people and the growers that are in this state to. I mean, literally supply anybody in the whole country can now come to Colorado and smoke.
Millions of possible people for marijuana tourism.
So you can't compare yes, there are similarities between the marijuana model and the liquor model, but the liquor model, you have a manufacturing facility that can supply the whole world.
Exactly.
Jack Daniels is only made in one place, and it
goes the whole world.
But you know what? It started out in someone's shed.
It did start out in someone's shed. Yeah, absolutely right.
But that goes back to my support of I believe in the vertical and the 3-tiered system, because if you have a 3-tiered system going, I mean, you could potentially have somebody with a lot of money build a 20-story building out here, and that's all they do in that building is grow product.
Well,
that's it.
And
then that would be enough to go ahead and
hire
supply a lot of
hundreds
people.
of growers.
Look,
That's exactly right. Create jobs.
I think there will be the room.
We've had this discussion before.
I think there will be the room for the Coors Light of marijuana and the Johnny Walker Blue label of marijuana. You know, I mean, there's gonna be a place for all of that,
and everything in between,
and everything. But really, we talked about the fear of the product value the product quality going down with a like a large manufacturer on a 3-tiered system. But at the same point, the nature of cannabis consumers is they always want the best stuff.
Definitely.
You know, I mean, yeah, there might be a time when you're short on cash and you're like, I need my medicine. I'm going to go for the cheap stuff right now because I can. But I think we've all recognized ourselves that when you buy the more expensive, higher quality stuff, you actually don't need to consume as much of it, and it is more cost effective.
But there's two markets there. There's the market of the people that paid their money to get a red card because they want to smoke it bad enough. And I had a red card. I didn't need a red card. Straight up. It is what it is. There's thousands and thousands of people out there that don't need it. They go ahead and do it. Those are the people that they paid the money to get the red card. They're going to pay the money to buy the good stuff.
Well, and then you have the people that are
and
licensed.
Everybody else
that are patients that are licensed because they need the medicine. They are going to want the higher quality product because it's a better medication for them.
Well, and frankly, that's why my company still exists. You know, that's why At Home Bake has been able to succeed and thrive. Is we are not a cheap product by any means. I mean, people are going and dumping $50, $60 a pop on our boxes of brownies. But when they get it home and they make it, it tastes amazing.
It does.
And it medicates them amazingly.
Yeah.
You know, not just for an hour, not just for 2 hours, for half a day, for a full day, for multiple days.
Well, then you're gonna be the brownie that's up here for any of those that can see it. And then you're gonna have the Duncan-Hine brownies that are down here. It is what it is. It doesn't matter if it's an edible or if it's a smokable product.
I agree.
You're going to have the cores in the bud of bud.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. It is what it is. There's strains that grow super fast that don't have as much THC in them, and there's a huge market for those people. It might be the other 900,000 people out there that are going to be smoking the product because they have $5 in their pockets or $10 in their pocket, and they walk in and be like, "Okay, cool, this is enough to get me through." I mean, at one of my buddies' house, I only drink Bud Select, but when I'm out getting a beer at a bar or something, it's all micros for me. That's what it is,
and that's I think where the market's going to develop. One, because legally, after all their chatter is done up there at the sit in the house, it probably will be like wine and alcohol. Okay, there's going to be the connoisseur brands like At Home Baked. There's going to be the connoisseur magazines like THC Mag, and there'll be the weed porn magazines and the Johnny Come Lately, and here's my ounce, dude.
Yep.
And it's going to look like it did 10 years ago coming across the border.
Well,
but there will be a market for all of that.
Well, there will be, and we designed the Hemp Connoisseur to become the wine spectator of cannabis down the line.
Hooray, I like that.
I mean, we did. I mean, obviously, we're much more political right now because that's what's needed is to get those stories across.
Yeah,
but what we looked at that and said, okay, there's going to come a time when the fight is not needed anymore. And then it's just all about the product and the service that you could get in different dispensaries.
That would be really nice, wouldn't it, when the fights...
I can't wait for that time. I always said, what my dream is when you start watching, if you watch TV now, alcohol is so integrated into society. You wouldn't think twice about a senator holding a glass of scotch if you see them at a correspondence dinner.
The inauguration ceremony.
Right. But what would stop, world leaders from, hey, let's sit down and smoke a little peace pipe actually before we have these talks.
Yeah.
It would, this is like conversations we've had probably when you're high. You're like,
over the peace pipe.
Wouldn't it be cool? Yeah, wouldn't it be cool? But really, wouldn't it be awesome? I mean, imagine for a moment that, hey, let's get Israel and Palestinians to sit down together, smoke a joint, and then talk their crap out together. They actually might get somewhere.
Right.
You really might. Even if you don't agree with somebody when you're medicated with them, you don't hate them.
That's like a hookah falafel.
It's like yeah, exactly.
Diplomacy, I like that.
But perfect example. It's just everybody out there, just for 1 second, or for the next week, just see how integrated alcohol is into our society. Something that kills thousands of people a year. People die every day from alcohol-related deaths. And we have no problem with watching shows like How I Met Your Mother, where they're at a bar all the time and they're getting drunk and they laugh about it and they joke about it. There's
But on the same story, you can talk about Ted.
you can talk about Ted.
Okay,
right?
so there's a movie where the teddy bear and the guy are taking bong hits through the entire thing. And that's integrating that into our society.
Yeah.
And I see it being more accepted, but you know what? We're the U.S.
Right.
I've lived over in Europe. I've lived here, and it's night and day difference.
Right.
They're not scared of nudity over there.
Right.
They're not scared of alcohol over there. They're not scared of tobacco. I mean, it's just different. And they're not scared of cannabis either, because they talk about it, or hash or anything like that. But here we're a different animal.
Fear factors used a lot in politics for everything from protecting my children to getting people out of wars and starting them.
But again, though, you speak about Ted, which is a hysterical movie. It's a great movie. But if you look at the context of how they treat cannabis in there, they use it in a way that says, "Oh, these guys are burners. They're not
wastoids.
They're wastoids. They're not moving further."
Well, look at Cheech and Chong.
I mean, look at Floyd from True Romance. Brad Pitt's character. I mean, and there is that element of it. But absolutely. But there's plenty of people like ourselves that are very successful business people that are moving forward that we can smoke and actually be very productive in society and be job creators.
But but at the end of the day, there's the people that want to separate alcohol and tobacco. Alcohol and marijuana as two completely separate things. Right. But at some point down the line, because it is coming into society and it is being accepted more and more, yes, you're not going to want to have an establishment where you go drink a beer and you smoke marijuana in the same place.
I think
but there's a point where look, I like to drink beer and I like to smoke weed. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not a druggie or anything like that. I just enjoy these two things, and I will go have a hit and drink a beer at the same time. I think there's going to come a time and a place where these things do need to be brought together. Not necessarily, not sold in the same places, separated that way, but that society accepts everything as a whole. I think it's going to be. But are there companies out there that are doing it?
On that note,
hold on real quick. But see, the Hemp Connoisseur magazine, and yes, okay, we're owners of the Hemp Connoisseur, so naturally we're going to go that way. But when we sat down to talk about this, and props to Dave and his team over there at THC that really brings everything together, because I run a different division of the company, but they are really doing a phenomenal job of educating people on hemp and educating people on marijuana and why they go together. You know what I mean?
Hemp is huge.
And with another side of it too is that we also have cannabis energy drink, but the sales force out there is going to be selling this product, which is a cannabis product, in liquor stores. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So you're now starting to bring these two things kind of
let the integration begin.
And that's exactly right. Educate these people that are like, I'm liquor, and you're marijuana. Have Jason, companies like this that will bring them together and educate people.
Could I take an opposing view?
Sure.
No, you can't.
Turn off his mic.
I spoke with Steve D'Angelo, and I think he had a unique perspective based on his experience. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you say regulate like alcohol, and this is where I was opposed to 64 on an intellectual concept basis, if they would have said regulate like tea, I think we'd be much further than we are today.
Or even tobacco.
No, I wouldn't go there either. Every time you say alcohol or tobacco at any of these meetings, on any advertisement, things come to head. Yeah. Now, the reason I don't want to regulate like alcohol specifically, because I follow Steve D'Angelo, that is a wellness factor. Mm-hmm. Now imagine our Studio A64 lounge concept that we have setting up. This will be a wellness lounge. You will have fresh pressed, locally market product juices that support the local markets. You will have non-intoxicating teas, no alcohol whatsoever, no tobacco whatsoever. It'll be marijuana smokers only, with bamboo floors and nice bright lights.
Right.
And
doing yoga in the back.
Yeah. Precisely. Or you know what I'd like to do is invite you for our cannabis cooking event where we actually help people at home that are maybe suffering. And, this guy's going to show you how to make his butter. And he's going to show you, I know these boxes are intimidating, but watch him bake a box of these brownies so you can see how easy it is. Not because we want to just help you make money, but we want to help the industry, we want to help the patient, we want to help the businesses. And every time we say alcohol, it puts us in that alcohol basket, which is what they did, and maybe it's because, for whatever reasons, but in Colorado Springs and Silicon Valley, it's not about alcohol, it's about responsible. It's not about tobacco, it's about wellness. our model is not a dark den where people get dank, and there's a place for that. God bless them, go, but not in the future. I want people looking at us in 5 years and people walking out, with their yoga bags.
Exactly.
And they're organic. They just picked up a bunch of bananas and apples from the local market, and they're stoned.
Yeah.
But they were responsibly stoned in our establishment of Studio A64 Lounge, and you're teaching them how to bake goodies in the background. This is kind of fun, butting heads and having fun at the same time with you guys because we agree and we disagree. This is a blast.
Well, and I know we're kind of wrapping up. I'd love to tell people where they can find us on the internet.
Please do. For both of you guys,
Our newest product is Sticks by At Home Baked. They're 50 milligrams THC, 25 milligrams CBD. You can find us online at sticks.co, and all the different retailers that we're in are listed on there.
And what can they pick those up for in the retail locations?
They run it anywhere from about $6 to $8 per stick, which is amazing for that kind of CBD content. And then you guys can also, check out At Home Baked.
I got one on too. Thanks, AJ, for the shirt.
My pleasure. Yeah.
See that? Come on, Chris.
And we're athomebakedcolorado.com.
Yeah.
So our websites are a little weird. We're athomebakedcolorado.com and we're sticks.co, just like Colorado.
Well, and just one more plug for you at Home Bake. Look, now we can say this. We couldn't say it before. You could only consume it with a medical license, but people can consume it now. They can't purchase it, but they can consume it over 21. So if you're ever hosting a party and you want to have a medicated dessert for that party, I highly recommend just getting the At Home Bake box.
Poker nights, guys.
Poker nights.
Super Bowl parties coming up. You bust out a box of sativa at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Super Bowl day. Everyone's going to be giggling, having a good time, even if their team loses.
Permagrants.
And then our indicas we're very specific indica sativa with our cold water hash.
And the indica's heavy.
Our sativa picks you up. Our indica puts you down.
Oh yeah, I remember it knocked me down.
And you will get. I mean, literally, I've heard it probably about 1,000 times now. This was the best sleep I've had in years. And
edibles are amazing.
And it's really the medical side of consumption. And when you guys turn, exactly. When you guys turn to our edibles, just know that everything we do is made with cold water hash, and everything that we do, I stand behind. Right. I would eat it before you eat it.
Right on. Casey, where can people find out about you?
Well, I'm looking for that brownie right now. We're at the MMJ Business Academy, and we are hosting an event actually this Saturday to help people understand A64 and A20. It's more of a business-to-business meeting. It's not open to the public. If you are in the business and you want to look at expanding your options and what might be coming at you, like we talked about today, the labeling, employment law, we're going to cover that.
Or if you're looking to invest in the industry.
Or invest, whether you want to help. There's a lot of centers out there. You mentioned, AJ, protecting the local market. You and I probably know a lot of centers that if they just had a little more help, they could go a long way.
I could say the same about our magazine, actually.
or almost any edible company out there, to tell you the truth.
Look, anybody in our industry could use a little bit of help.
So that's the point. When you hear that protectionist mentality, I understand it because I'm a local too. But if I can bring someone in here that has capital that could help expand your market and support that local industry, then hallelujah for the guy that got the job. So this seminar is open to everybody. If you want to start a mom and pop, come on by. You want to open up the big daddy, the coureurs of marijuana, come on by, because we have them all. And they all have a niche, the connoisseur niche. If I'm a little tiny grower and I make the best AK-47, without a doubt, hands down, I'm going to be sold out whether I make 10 pounds or 100 pounds a month. So I just made my bank.
Or 1,000 pounds.
Or 1,000 pounds. But if I can produce 80 strains at a time and I can supply multiple stores, then great. Both products have a place on the shelf. Let's not close the door. Let's consider vertical integration as a protectionist model that you could use it if you want to be vertically integrated, but it should not be forced on you. Let's give every medical marijuana center the chance to easily flip. If you want to do both, we're working on that. I can't guarantee you, but we're working on it. But if we can't get that, then we're going to allow you to easily flip.
And just to give another shout out too, this evening I'm going to be down at Castleman's because Chloe and a couple other people are hosting. I know Warren, the person whose office we're in now, these guys, they're doing an event all about the DUI bill, which really interests a lot of people here.
Yes, it does.
And also we're going to have some people from the A64 what's it called?
Task force.
That are discussing what exactly is going on there. So I'm really interested to hear what's going on and what they have to say, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are. So if you guys want to come down to Castleman's, I believe tonight it's from 6:30 to about 7:30 is the DUI thing, and about 8 o'clock till 9 is the A64 issues.
Yep. Castleman's is at 2620 Walnut Street. Just north of 26th on Walnut. And for those of you who aren't that familiar with northern downtown, or as they like to call it, NoDo, if you take Market Street from Coors Field and you just stay on it, it turns into Walnut. So you basically take Market to 26 and you'll see it. You can't miss it.
And if you can't, AJ, our seminar is all day on Saturday from 8 in the morning till 5 at night. It is all comprehensive from start to finish, what we know and where we're going to go. That's only $2.99, and it is designed for investors and people maybe in the industry that aren't sure what's going on. But we'll be glad to help, and tell Chloe I said hello.
I will.
Right.
Do you guys have anything else? Because I do have to give a shout out to two of our sponsors that we don't have recorded commercials on yet.
No, I just really want to say thank you guys so much for having us.
No, thank
and
you
this
guys.
was a really
It's
great
great.
conversation.
It
I was
was.
planning on spending for 10 minutes and ended up
And
hanging
it
out
being
for the whole
show.
hour.
That tends to happen here, actually. It does.
So first shout out's going out to River Rock. And I can't, unfortunately, maybe they could send us an email real quick, but I can't remember the name of their CBD caps that they have that we had sampled last week. Are you drawing a blank on that?
I'm totally drawing a blank.
Oh, and just
Previs.
Previs,
All
yeah.
right. Okay, cool. So shout out to River Rock again.
One thing I got to
Go
say,
ahead.
I did the caps. I don't know if you tried the caps.
I did, yep.
Amazing. Yeah.
Producer Chris had one
producer
too.
Chris. Look, I took 2 caps in the morning, like Tony suggested.
Yep.
And clear head. It was like taking the nicest muscle relaxant I've ever had without affecting my brain in any way, shape, or form. I actually had a more productive day that day than I normally do. So. We could say it's the placebo effect, but I'll give a little bit of credit where I think credit is due, and we'll go to the previous caps.
Those guys over there know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And also know
Good.
that you can pick up our at-home baked mixes at River Rock South.
Cool.
So if you guys want to give them a shot, hit up River Rock South. We're not at the North location yet. If you guys sell us out at South, maybe we'll be able to get into North.
There you
So go up, hit them up, and try our at-home baked.
South is right at 6th Avenue. I forget.
6th and Santa Fe.
6th and Santa Fe. There you go.
Okay, and then they do have special member pricing for ounces over there for $130. So it's and their product
pricing.
is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
No,
So
they are consistent. They're very consistent.
The other shout out also is going out to Cannabis Energy Drink from it's a product that we that the other side of our company actually has exclusive distributorship rights to Wyoming, Kansas, and Colorado right now. Just an absolutely amazing company. Hit us up on Facebook at Cannabis Energy Drink Rocky Mountain Region. Because they are looking to do some sponsorships on some really cool events over the summer, trying to get that calendar filled up. So if you're looking for stuff like Bongathon or Tough Mudder or any of those events that you think would be a good fit for what we have going on for an energy drink, it has hemp in it, so you're not going to get high on it. You are, as of next week, we have a big shipment coming in Monday or Tuesday of next week that we're actually going to be able to start pushing the product to market. Very excited about it. I know corporate is very excited about it. K1 Energy Drink North America is super excited about what we have going on.
I would say if you're a Red Bull drinker, but you support this industry, I think you make the switch over to Cannabis
Get off
Energy
the bull.
Drink. Yeah, get off the bull and get on the leaf. Hey, there you go. That's a new one right there. Just because these guys at Cannabis Energy Drink are big hemp supporters, they're looking for hemp to be grown in Colorado, and they will move base of their manufacturing facility here once it hits a full production site.
If they outgrow their facility.
The
product currently is manufactured in Amsterdam, so it's imported. So it does take a while to get here. Will they go ahead and manufacture it in America?
Hip, hip,
I don't know.
We hope so.
I don't know. I think it would be fantastic if they did.
I think if the demand is there.
But the product behind it, it retails for the same amount as Red Bull does. It's got all the antioxidants, the taurines, the B vitamins, but it's got hemp, which has all of your amino acids, your omegas that are in there. It's just hemp is just an amazing, amazing, amazing product. These guys have figured out how to put it into an energy drink, and they do it. They're not the only hemp energy beverage out there. We've tried them all, but they are by far the best.
They are,
and that's not just by
that
us.
is actually
That's test. I mean that's market testing.
It is market testing.
So.
And I want to apologize to all of our listeners. We didn't really get into any hemp topics today, and I love it. We always get excited about the hemp, but obviously this was a really great conversation with AJ and KC today because there's a lot of things that need to be hashed out No pun intended.
Hopefully.
With the 64 task force, and I think that a lot of the debate that we had today is very much what's happening right now in the task force. So,
Totally.
Very happy. Thank you for bringing that conversation up.
And check out www.mmjmeetandgreet.com if you want more information about the event on January 27th. It's every last Sunday of the month. And all you Facebookers out there, throw a like to THC Mag, throw a like to friend Casey Stark and AJ Hashman, and also check us out on Facebook. You can see there's over 200 some people and 100 some already saying that they're going to the MMJ meet and greet on there. And definitely, if you got a minute, check out our Sticks page and our At Home Baked page and throw us a like there too. Every 50 likes for our Sticks and our At Home Baked page, we give stuff away.
Nice.
Not just one thing, lots of stuff.
Cool.
Right
So the more friends you guys have like our stuff, the more stuff we're going to be giving back to you guys as patients.
Right on. Well, man, we had a lot of things to plug today. So once again, man, thank you so much, Casey Starr, for coming on. We really look forward to having you back on, and definitely keep us abreast of everything that's going down in Colorado Springs that you're going to be helping write for us, and keep up with us on that as well.
Well,
AJ,
thanks for doing what you do with
Yeah.
the businesses out there and,
Yeah.
and keeping people informed and keeping people legal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And AJ, thank you, man. Always a pleasure to see you and talk with you. You never run out of things to say. That's one of the things I love about you. We do have to end. We've gone over, but hey, it's the internet, so who cares? So for Hemp Connoisseur Radio, I'm David.
I'm Jason.
Peace, love, and hempiness.